Hey people, please join fast as we are about to begin a live session. I welcome you all to this live session. I am your admin as well as host for today's live session. My name is Manasvi Srivastav, and today the speaker for our live session will be Dr. Kushagra Mathur. He's an instructor at Medical Simulation Lab. So today in this live session we are going to talk about the impacts of HCQ, that's hydroxychloroquine, the very popular anti-malarial drug, and its impact on ECG. So let's begin with our session. Dr. Mathur will be joining us shortly. So meanwhile, if you have any questions or doubts, you can always DM us. Hello, sir.
Hi,
So
can
I
you hear me?
welcome Dr. Kushagra Mathur on behalf of our whole Healthy Med team.
Hi,
So shall we
thank you very
begin?
much. Yes, let's do that.
So now Dr. Mathur will be starting with the introduction about hydroxychloroquine, the very popular anti-malarial drug.
Yes, that's what it has become recently.
Yes.
So guys, I am Dr. Kushagra Mathur and we'll be talking a bit about hydroxychloroquine and its effects on the body and more importantly on the ECGs. Okay, it's all right if some or maybe none of you know how to read an ECG. At least we'll be able to read some of them. Okay, so firstly, we decided upon this topic because we wanted to uh, tell you guys to stop self-medicating yourselves because, well, hydroxychloroquine is an over-the-counter drug, and well, in India, every drug is over-the-counter drug if you have good contacts.
Actually,
Yes. So, see, people started using hydroxychloroquine first in 1950s, around 1955, and hydroxychloroquine, along with its sister drugs like chloroquine, were used for other illnesses. Now, can you guys tell me what are the indications of hydroxychloroquine? Anyone?
so can anyone tell us about the indications of hydroxychloroquine?
Okay, well, it's used in connective tissue disorders like SLE and rheumatoid arthritis, and it has been used in Sjogren's syndrome as first-line drug, but not with much success. And chloroquine, as we all know, it's a very common anti-malarial drug. Yes, used for treating malaria. Yeah.
Well, Dr. Mathur, can you be a bit more louder?
Okay. Is it fine now?
Yeah, it's fine.
So, hydroxychloroquine has been used as in connective tissue disorders like SLE and rheumatoid arthritis. And as we all know, uh, chloroquine is being used as an anti-malarial. Yes.
Okay.
Mhm. So, what else do you want to know?
Can you please tell us about the uses? Let's ask our viewers first. What are the uses of hydroxychloroquine? And then we'll later know about the mechanism of action too.
Okay, can someone please write about the uses of hydroxychloroquine in the comments?
Okay, so now Dr. Mathur will tell us about the uses.
Uh, hydroxychloroquine is used against SLE, yeah, used against anti-malarial parasite, Mr. Weirdo. Uh, uh, and SLE, rheumatoid arthritis, and also in Sjogren's syndrome, as a first-line treatment, it was proposed, but hasn't been much helpful. And
Okay.
chloroquine, as we all know, as people are also saying, it's a very common anti-malarial drug.
Okay, then what about the mechanism of action? Let's know how it works on our body. The mechanism of action of hydroxychloroquine.
So hydroxychloroquine is a lipophilic and weakly basic drug. Okay, so lipophilic means lipo as in fat and philic means loving. So it's fat loving, so it's easy for it to cross the cell membrane. And after crossing the cell membrane, it goes to the lysozymes and it enters the lysozymes. And since because it's weakly basic also, it causes slight increase of pH of lysozymes. The normal pH of lysozymes is around 3 to 4 and it increases it to 6. So the toll-like receptors and other macrophages and other inflammatory cells, when they come, when they are on the top of the cell, they are looking at the interiors of the cell and they are like have to find if there is any problem inside the cell, and they are not able to find any lysozyme because the lysozymes are supposed to keep their pH at 3 or 4. So they are like, oh, there's no problem here, let's go somewhere else. It's normal. So that way, the inflammatory process is reduced and the
Okay.
inflammation process is decreased.
Mm-hmm.
And also the what do you say, the transfer of uh, parasite from one cell to another, the signal pathways, all those get problematic there. It also affects channels, potassium channels, sodium channels. So that is another reason why it causes a lot of side effects in our body.
Okay. So can you please tell us about some potent side effects which hydroxychloroquine possesses?
The important side effects of hydroxychloroquine. Well, hydroxychloroquine causes a lot of side effects on the entire body actually, starting from the CNS.
Okay.
I'm audible, right?
Yeah, you are.
Good. How about now?
Yeah, you're clear enough.
Okay. Please tell drug interactions. People are saying. So, hi Dibya, I'll be telling you the drug interactions as well. So the side effects are it causes dizziness, minor CNS side effects, dizziness, and in the eyes. Can someone tell me what complications hydroxychloroquine, chronic use of hydroxychloroquine causes in our eyes? It's a very common, someone just answered also. What does it cause in our eyes? And other things are it can cause, cardiovascular conditions. It can lead to decreased levels of potassium. And it can also cause itching and rashes on the body. It's a very common side effect of hydroxychloroquine to cause itchiness or rashes. Now,
Okay.
while I was talking about the signaling pathways, the potassium channels also get, disturbed. So, since potassium is primarily an intracellular ion, and during this entire process, more potassium is pumped inside the cells. So, a state of color deficit, Dr. Paulis says.
Okay.
Yeah, it can cause color deficit, but it more commonly presents with another very specific thing for hydroxychloroquine. So, potassium, it causes a state of hypokalemia in our blood. So, that's a very big problem for us. And coming to the
Okay.
drug interactions, as Dibya said, drug interactions with there are with digoxin, with azithromycin. These are some common drugs which are being used. Azithromycin. All of them can lead to decreased or increased level of potassium, like digoxin with hydroxychloroquine can cause disruption of again disturbance in potassium channels. So it can further affect heart. Azithromycin again, and yeah, that's all.
Okay, so now we know the introduction, uses, mechanism of action, as well as about the side effects of hydroxychloroquine. So let's begin with with our main topic, the impact of hydroxychloroquine on ECG.
Okay, the ones who have just joined us, please do not self-medicate yourself with any drug. Any drug, it's not about hydroxychloroquine and it's not about the steroids that are coming up as a newer treatment for COVID. Steroids are actually worse. Okay, Dibya, welcome. They're actually worse. And let's talk about the ECG changes. Okay, so
So hopefully everyone knows what's ECG, right?
can you see this?
Yeah, I can.
Okay, so this is a
I
normal
guess you
ECG.
need to rotate your camera a bit.
Okay, like
Yeah,
this?
now it's okay. Yeah.
Great. So this is a normal ECG. Sir is saying that we should not take any drugs without prescription. Okay, yeah, that is what I'm saying. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is P, Q, R, S, and T waves, which are normally present in an ECG on an ECG. Now P wave, okay, our heart is made up of mainly four chambers, which are divided into mainly two atria and two ventricles. So P wave is formed when a the atrium contraction is occurring, or rather atrium depolarization. So P wave is atrium depolarization or contraction. And then this QRS is contraction of what? Can someone tell me? QRS wave is?
Can
Or can
anyone
someone
tell
tell
what
me?
QRS wave is?
A lot
Okay,
of
let's
people.
continue.
Yeah. Okay, so P wave is contraction of atrium, QRS is contraction of ventricles. Lucky Roy, exactly, the ventricles. And T wave is ventricular relaxation. Now, atrial relaxation is hidden somewhere beneath the QRS complex.
Okay.
Now, it's important for us to know from our first years that calcium ion causes contraction of the ventricles and potassium ion causes relaxation of the ventricles. That's simple, all right? Like muscle physiology, calcium causes contraction.
Okay.
Now, okay, this is how a normal ECG looks. There's a P, Q, R, and S, and there's P, Q, R, S, and T. Okay, but in patient who have hypokalemia or potassium levels have decreased. Okay, so potassium was causing relaxation of heart, right?
Yeah.
So relaxation of heart will not occur properly now. Yes, Akanksha, this is sinus rhythm. So if relaxation of heart is not occurring properly, relaxation will take a lot of time to occur. And since T wave was what, showing us the ventricular relaxation, we can all tell that, there will be a prolongation of QT segment or QT interval as they call it. So this was a normal ECG. And here we can see there's a P, Q, R, S, and there's a T which is slightly prolonged. It's slightly inclined, and that is the case with all these. Slightly increased QT interval.
Okay.
Okay, it's more clear over here. Okay, is it visible?
Yeah, it is visible.
Great. So its normal QT interval, and there is a prolongation of QT interval because there is a state of decreased potassium which is supposed to contract your ventricles. Now tell me, if there is a decreased potassium, so there will be a comparative rise of what? There will be a comparative rise of calcium, right? And calcium causes contraction. So which wave was contraction of heart? That was QRS, right? So there will be a quick contraction and a slow relaxation. Quick contraction and a slow relaxation,
Slow
as we
relaxation.
can see over in this one. Okay, so there is a quick contraction. The QRS is almost negligible over here. Like it's a very thin QRS because the heart is not taking long to contract. Yes, Lucky Roy. QRS is small. Yes, Akanksha. QRS is small in hypokalemia and there is a prolonged QT. Let me tell you again. So there is people who take hydroxychloroquine. What happens is their QT prolongation. QT is prolonged because potassium causes relaxation of heart and calcium causes contraction of heart, and hydroxychloroquine causes decrease in potassium ions. So if your heart does not have potassium, it will not be able to relax, and since it won't be able to relax, it will take a longer time to relax, and that long time is seen as QT prolongation on an ECG. And since it's taking a longer time to relax, it will take less time to contract, and that is seen as narrow complex QRS, WPW syndrome also. Well, Lucky Roy, in WPW syndrome, the QRS that you see over here, what? Yeah, this we see a delta wave, slightly slanting delta wave in QRS. Okay, that's WPW. Yes, Ritika, it's long QT syndrome. And see, the catch here is that many of us are born with congenital long QT syndrome, and we never get to know it because we don't usually go for an ECG. But the ones who already have long QT syndrome, if they start taking hydroxychloroquine, their QT will further prolong, and that will lead into arrhythmia and cardiac arrest also. And like you know, cardiac arrest causes sudden death of patient.
Right, right.
Okay, so the last two ECGs I want to show. Can someone please tell me the diagnosis of this ECG? Rohit, potassium causes relaxation of heart. Calcium causes contraction of heart. Can someone tell me
Exactly.
the diagnosis of this ECG? Because if someone is taking hydroxychloroquine and if he already has long QT, this is the rhythm that he'll have. Yes, believer, it's VFib. This is ventricular fibrillation. Right? What about this one? This ECG was asked in AIMS November 2019. The diagnosis of this rhythm was asked.
So can any one of you tell us about it?
Yes, believer, it's torsitis de pointis. Yes, Lucky Roy. So people who take hydroxychloroquine can suddenly develop VF or TDP. That was what it was.
So are we done with our topic?
From my side, yeah, I guess. If you have any questions or if you want to add something, since you will be knowing more about hydroxychloroquine in particular.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, is there anything you want to tell us about hydroxychloroquine?
Nothing so, but I'd like to ask people if they have any questions regarding hydroxychloroquine or something related to ECG, then they can ask us.
Mm-hmm.
So people, do you have any questions? Please tell us in the comment section. Okay, probably no. So we'll end our live session here. Thank you, Dr. Mathur. Thanks a lot. And thank you all for joining. Goodbye.
Bye. Thank you.